it doesn't change the fact that you know this, you're splitting the vote. If I'm a lefty, it's a dream that Advance have come along right now.
Yeah, so I think it's really important not to get caught in the politics of left and right, because people just assume Reform is right-wing, Conservative is right-wing, Advance is right-wing, so we're all splitting each other's vote. But actually, there's a reason why people regard the Conservative Party as the uniparty with Labour. It's because they basically believe the same thing. They believe in governance for the global good. They believe in internationalism. They believe in the G7, the G20, and they believe in taking down borders. I mean, even the King of England said we have no borders with France. The King of the United Kingdom said we have no borders with France. It's an absolutely absurd comment to make. Of course, we should have borders with France. There's no other country in the world with which I would wish to have a border more than with France. We must have a border with France. It's that kind of thinking that needs to be reversed.
Yeah. The King said a few pretty bonkers
Weird
things recently.
yeah.
There's a lot of Islam stuff as well. Did you see Rachel Reeves? Was it Rachel Reeves who started wearing all this Islamic gear to go and greet a bunch of Muslims?
Yeah, well, I mean, this is what happens when you lose touch with your own cultural roots. And again, the conversation we were having in the car, and it's really important. It's a really good point, and I'd just like to make this. We often talk about our Christian cultural roots. What we don't talk about is our Christian constitutional roots. This is constitutionally a Christian country. And we are losing sight of that. The king of the country has lost sight of that because he talks about multi-faith. We're not a multi-faith country. Constitutionally, we're a Christian country. Starmer wants to remove the bishopric from the House of Lords. And the reason he wants to remove the bishopric from the House of Lords is because at that point he'll be able to claim, actually, we're not constitutionally a Christian country. They don't sit in Parliament. We had a brilliant setup. We had the most senior the law-making body of the Commons and the Lords collectively, together with the highest judiciary in the country, in the Lords, together with the bishopric. We had an integrated parliament, a parliament that is the most powerful body, the lawmaking, but also the most powerful body in the country. It defined who we were. And that constitutional arrangement was set aside by Tony Blair, and Starmer wants to continue that destruction of our constitution. And what we've got to do, another thing Advance UK would do, is absolutely put Christianity firmly back at the heart of the constitution of this country. And from that would follow the cultural aspects of Christianity. But we often talk about a cultural Christian, being culturally a Christian, and we forget about the constitutional aspect. And the constitutional aspect, without wishing to overlabor the point now, is fundamentally important.
It's a difficult one for those who are not Christian who are listening. I think many are, and those who are not, to get behind necessarily. David Starkey, when he was on, he said this is not a Christian country in that sense. He said we didn't form our laws and things from Christianity. Instead, it's Greco-Roman, and we actually shaped our feeling of what Christianity is around those Greco-Roman kind of rules around democracy and those kinds of things. I mean, it's saying the same thing in another way. Either way, the Christianity we've always known is interlinked with the society we've built. So getting rid of it, I don't think they realize this. I don't think Starmer realizes. I think a lot of people don't realize it. In getting rid of that particular brand of Christianity that helped to form what we have, we're getting rid of everything we have.
Yeah, I mean, I think what Christianity did it to a fault so well, was to remove itself from interfering in the state, and so the constitutional Christianity to which I refer, it's almost kind of invisible. But I don't wholly agree with David Starkey. I think the Christian, and perhaps he would say, Ben, this is a slightly different point, but for example, the abolition of the slave trade was the responsibility for that, the prime mover behind it was an evangelical Christian, a guy called William Wilberforce, whom every viewer and listener would have heard of. And
he would say that's a Christianity that formed based on the Greco-Roman.
Yeah, but it came through Parliament, didn't it? The change came through Parliament, and it was made by a Christian. And it was those Christian patrician, it wasn't liberalism that got us to ban the slave trade. It was our Christian patrician attitude, the caring side of Christianity, which went through our Parliament, as with the case having been made by William Wilberforce. And I think we've got to reconnect with that.
what would it take? Let's say Farage called you tomorrow and wanted to merge advance with reform. What would it take for you to agree?
I say, Farage, you don't even have to merge. Adopt our constitution, put checks and balances in place on yourself, surround yourself with great people, and frankly, I'll go off and retire. I don't do the job.
91% watching Heretics clips are not subscribed. Quick favor, hit subscribe. Free, takes 2 seconds, and helps us question everything together.